Welcome to our Hong Kong Brief program. Today, we're diving into the rich and flavorful history of Macanese cuisine, a unique blend of Chinese and Portuguese culinary traditions that has earned Macau the title of UNESCO Creative City of Gastronomy. We'll explore how this fusion cuisine came to be and why it's considered a hidden gem in the world of gastronomy. Next, we'll shift gears to discuss the European Parliament's recent right-wing surge and what it means for EU-China relations. Analysts predict that this political shift could lead to stricter scrutiny of Chinese investments and complicate trade ties, adding another layer to the already complex US-China rivalry. Finally, we'll take a lighter turn to talk about the latest social media craze in Hong Kong: giant pastries. These oversized baked goods have not only captured the hearts of foodies but have also become a viral sensation on Instagram. From giant croissants to massive pineapple buns, we'll see how these treats are making Hong Kong classics cool again. Please stay tuned for more details on these exciting stories. South China Morning Post. In the mid-16th century, the Ming dynasty of China leased Macau to Portugal as a trading post, a decision that ultimately led to the creation of one of the world's first fusion cuisines. This unique culinary tradition blends Portuguese and Chinese influences, resulting in dishes like pastel de nata and minchi. Manuel Antonio de Jesus, whose mother Ida de Jesus was a celebrated figure in Macanese cuisine, explains that Macanese food is a fusion of Malaccan, Chinese, and Portuguese traditions. Culinary historian Dr. Janet Boileau adds that the cuisine has evolved with changes in ingredient availability and cultural context, making it a unique reflection of Macau's history. Signature dishes like tacho and galinha africana showcase this blend, using ingredients and techniques from various cultures. The tradition of cha gordo, or fat tea, highlights the ceremonial aspect of Macanese dining. Despite its rich heritage, Macanese cuisine faces challenges in gaining global recognition, partly due to the difficulty in mastering its recipes and the lack of promotion. The recognition of Macau as a UNESCO Creative City of Gastronomy in 2017 has helped, but more efforts are needed to preserve this culinary heritage. South China Morning Post. The European Parliament's recent shift to the right is expected to complicate the EU's trade relations with China, adding new uncertainties to its approach towards Ukraine and the US-China rivalry. The center-right European People's Party retained most seats, while socialists and liberals suffered heavy losses, impacting leaders like German Chancellor Olaf Scholz and French President Emmanuel Macron. Analysts like Wang Yiwei from Renmin University suggest that the right-wing surge will likely lead the EU to toughen its stance on China, including increased tariffs on Chinese-made electric vehicles. Christina Van Bergen from the European Commission notes that while cooperation on green energy might continue, stricter scrutiny of Chinese investments and trade agreements is expected. Right-wing parties emphasize national interests, potentially leading to a more transactional approach in EU-China relations. The rise of right-wing factions like France's National Rally, led by Marine Le Pen, could further strain trade ties, especially in sectors like wind power. The future of EU-China relations will depend on various factors, including the policies of the new EU administration and the outcome of the US elections. South China Morning Post. Hong Kong's chief executive John Lee Ka-chiu has vowed to expand the city's overseas trade offices, ETOs, despite increasing geopolitical tensions and attacks from Western governments. Lee described these offices as jewels under attack but emphasized their role in promoting business and economic cooperation. He highlighted Hong Kong's favorable tax system as an advantage for investors. The ETOs have faced scrutiny, particularly after British authorities charged a manager at the London office with alleged spying. Despite these challenges, Lee is committed to strengthening the ETOs and expanding their presence in regions like the Middle East and Southeast Asia. He aims to build a stronger team to engage with the international community and attract more talent to Hong Kong. Li also plans to set up new ETOs in countries that show a willingness to build stronger connections, prioritizing regions where Hong Kong can reap the biggest returns quickly. The government is considering new offices in Riyadh, Turkey, and Egypt, in addition to the existing ones in Bangkok, Jakarta, Singapore, and Dubai. South China Morning Post: Hong Kong stocks took a nosedive on Thursday, primarily driven by the disheartening data on industrial profits in China, which rekindled fears about the country's economic recovery. The Hang Seng Index plummeted 1.7% to 17,788.14, nearing a two-month low, while the Hang Seng Tech Index and Shanghai Composite Index fell by 1.8% and 0.8%, respectively. The slowdown in profit growth for Chinese industrial companies, a mere 0.7% increase in May compared to a 4% rise in April, has shaken investor confidence. Beijing's recent measures to support the property market, including cuts in down payment ratios and mortgage rates, failed to impress investors, who found the action slower than anticipated. Analysts at Nomura noted Beijing's conservative approach, especially compared to other first-tier cities like Shanghai. The property sector remains under scrutiny as developers face declining market capitalizations, risking their inclusion in the Stock Connect program. Major decliners included Xiaomi, which dropped 3.9%, and Nongfu Spring, which fell 3.5%, while New World Development slipped 0.7% after selling a stake in a property project to reduce debt. Nikkei Asia: Hong Kong-listed companies are increasingly pivoting their borrowings from the US dollar to the yuan, driven by the high interest rates maintained by the US Federal Reserve and the lower rates offered by the People's Bank of China. Want China, a Taiwanese snack producer, drastically reduced its US dollar-denominated debt by 97% and increased yuan borrowings almost tenfold. This shift aims to capitalize on lower interest rates, despite the company's annualized financing costs rising by 27%. Link Real Estate Investment Trust and Chow Tai Fook Jewelry Group have also restructured their debt portfolios to favor the yuan, mitigating the impact of high US dollar interest rates. Link REIT reduced its Hong Kong dollar borrowings by 70%, replacing them with yuan, which now constitutes the largest share of its funding. The effective interest rate for yuan borrowings fell to 2.83%, significantly lower than the rate for Hong Kong dollars. This strategic shift is part of a broader trend among Hong Kong-listed companies seeking to manage their finance costs amid fluctuating global interest rates. CNN: Vienna has once again been crowned the world's most livable city by the Economist Intelligence Unit, EIU, achieving perfect scores in 4 out of 5 categories, including healthcare, stability, infrastructure, and education. Copenhagen and Zurich followed closely, while Melbourne, Calgary, Vancouver, and Sydney also featured prominently in the top 10. Despite Western Europe's strong performance, the region experienced a decline in stability scores due to increasing protests and crime. North America excelled in education but struggled with infrastructure, particularly in Canada, where a housing crisis has worsened. Hong Kong saw the most significant improvement, jumping from 61st to 50th place, thanks to better stability and healthcare scores. In contrast, Tel Aviv dropped 20 places due to the Israel-Hamas conflict. The bottom of the list remained largely unchanged, with Damascus, Tripoli, Algiers, and Lagos ranking as the least livable cities. The EIU noted that global livability has seen slight improvements, but risks to stability persist, driven by high inflation, economic challenges, and frequent protests. South China Morning Post: In 1997, Hong Kong closed its last public incinerator at Kwai Chung, marking the end of an era and the beginning of a decades-long struggle to find alternative waste disposal methods. the long-awaited I Park 1 incinerator, set to open in Shet Kua Chau by 2025, has faced numerous delays due to factors like NIMBYism and cost concerns, ballooning its price tag to 31.3 billion Hong Kong dollars, $4 billion US. While incineration reduces waste mass and volume, it still leaves behind non-combustible residue, necessitating the use of landfills for disposal. Comparatively, cities like Singapore and Tokyo have successfully integrated incineration with waste sorting and recycling, turning waste into energy and construction materials. For Hong Kong to achieve its zero waste goal, it must not only build incinerators but also foster a culture of diligent waste sorting and recycling, supported by adequate infrastructure and public education. South China Morning Post, Tom Rushton, the coach behind Siobhan Haughey's bid for Paris Olympics glory, has a unique coaching philosophy that blends empathy and psychological insight. Following in the footsteps of his Olympic swimmer parents, Rushton initially pursued a career in art history before realizing his true passion lay in coaching. His training group, which includes world-class swimmers like Israel's Anastasia Gorbenko, is known for its intellectual rigor and emotional intelligence. Rushton's ability to connect with athletes and understand their personalities has been key to his success, leading to multiple medals at the Tokyo Olympics. His approach emphasizes the importance of a balanced life, encouraging athletes to engage in activities outside of swimming to avoid burnout. As the Paris Olympics approach, Rushton's innovative and empathetic coaching style continues to drive his athletes towards success. South China Morning Post, Hong Kong Chief Executive John Lee Ka-chiu is focused on expanding the city's economic reach by forging new networks and combating a Western disinformation campaign. In an exclusive interview, Lee highlighted investment opportunities in regions like ASEAN, Central Asia, and the Middle East, as well as emerging markets like Peru. Despite facing geopolitical challenges and sanctions from the West, Lee remains committed to promoting Hong Kong's strengths, such as its low-tax environment and strong connections to mainland China. Over the past 2 years, his administration has achieved significant milestones, including the enactment of a domestic security law and efforts to revitalize the local economy. Lee emphasized the importance of building a strong, results-oriented government team and fostering international business exchanges. He also expressed a deep sense of personal sacrifice, acknowledging the toll his role has taken on his family, but found joy in seeing the positive impact of his work on Hong Kong's residents. South China Morning Post reports that a Cathay Pacific Airways flight en route to Hong Kong was compelled to return to Paris shortly after takeoff due to a mechanical issue. The flight, which departed from Paris Charles de Gaulle Airport, experienced a problem with the flaps on the plane's wings not retracting properly. Consequently, the aircraft had to release fuel before safely landing back in Paris. Cathay Pacific apologized for the inconvenience and emphasized that passenger safety was their top priority. No injuries were reported, and passengers were kept informed and assisted throughout the situation. In another article from South China Morning Post, Jobs by Seek, Hong Kong's premier employment marketplace, has entered into a strategic partnership with Zhaopin, China's leading career development platform. This collaboration aims to streamline cross-border recruitment processes between Hong Kong and mainland China. The initiative, titled Powerful GBA Fusion Talent Recruitment Without Boundaries, enables job advertisements to appear on both platforms simultaneously, expanding the talent pool for employers. The partnership also includes hosting virtual career fairs and university recruitment events to connect employers with new graduates. This move is expected to enhance talent mobility and support the growing demand for skilled workers in the Greater Bay Area, GBA. Meanwhile, the South China Morning Post highlights a viral trend in Hong Kong featuring oversized pastries, such as the massive croissant and latte offered by Cookie DPT in collaboration with Le Dessert. These gigantic treats have become popular on social media, with many people posting pictures of themselves struggling to lift the enormous pastries. Despite assurances from Le Dessert's founder that customers finish their croissants, there are instances where the food appears to be left uneaten. The trend has also seen the introduction of an oversized pineapple bun by Red Bean Bakery, which has garnered attention for its size and novelty. Food tour guide Virginia Chan notes that while the giant bun is light and fluffy, the crust-to-dough ratio differs from a regular-sized bun. Despite some skepticism, the trend has brought renewed interest to traditional Hong Kong baked goods, making them Instagrammable and cool again. South China Morning Post, Coleman Wong Chuk Lam, a trailblazer for Hong Kong tennis, faced a straight sets defeat in Wimbledon qualifying but remains undeterred. As the first Hong Konger in 70 years to compete at Wimbledon, Wong sees his participation as a milestone in his burgeoning career. Despite recent setbacks, including a similar fate at the French Open, the 20-year-old has climbed the world rankings from 477 to 172. Wong's journey included qualifying for the Miami Masters 1000 and reaching the Asian Games quarterfinals. His ambition is to inspire more Hong Kongers to pursue tennis as a career, leveraging his experiences and connections, such as training at Rafa Nadal Academy. Wong's primary goal for 2024 is to qualify for the next Gen finals, aiming to prove that sport can be a viable career path. South China Morning Post, several Hong Kong-listed Chinese property developers, including Soho China and Shermao Group Holdings, risk being excluded from the Stock Connect program due to falling market values. This cross-border scheme allows mainland investors to trade Hong Kong stocks and vice versa. Companies must maintain a market capitalization above 4 billion Hong Kong dollars to remain eligible, but recent downturns have seen values drop below this threshold. The potential exclusion could further strain these developers, already grappling with liquidity issues and creditor pressures. The Hang Seng Mainland Properties Index's brief rebound, spurred by Beijing's bailout measures, has largely been erased. Analysts warn that without mainland investor support, these stocks could plummet further, exacerbating the sector's woes amid ongoing winding-up petitions and a sluggish property market recovery. The Sydney Morning Herald, Australia's champion jockey James McDonald is hospitalised with an unexplained stomach illness, jeopardising his participation in the final Group 1 race of the season at Eagle Farm. Initially dismissed as appendicitis, doctors are conducting further tests to diagnose the issue. McDonald, who felt worsening pain during a race day at Warwick Farm, drove himself to Prince of Wales Hospital. His absence would be significant as he was set to ride Saint-Magique and 3 other favourites. McDonald has had a stellar season, with 113 wins and a 24% strike rate, including 19 Group 1 victories. His achievements span Australia, Hong Kong, and Japan, highlighted by his partnership with Romantic Warrior. McDonald's success has positioned him as the front-runner in the World Best Jockey standings for 2024, underscoring his remarkable year. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.
Turn the lights on screen. What's the latest thing? 最在。